Hey, you guys. How's it shaking? How's things going? Okay, so I had mentioned that on a previous video that I wanted to do um, like a journal construction start to finish, like in one video. And I thought, I think I can do it. Uh, and Well, there's a few books that I was considering doing, and this is one that I have always wanted to make into a journal, but I don't normally do one journal at a time that often, so I thought this would be perfect, and I have never come across like a whole set of books that were kind of the same size. It's kind of large, so let's see, it is 10 inches by, well, I'm not going to measure the width of the spine there. I'm just going to measure the cover. So 6.5 by, right about 2 inches, right? So it's going to be kind of a big journal, and but I think it'll be fun. I did test it on the sewing machine to make sure that I could stitch through the cover, and I'm going to be able to do that. So I will be stitching through the cover. So first thing is, got to get the cover prepped. So first thing will be gutting the book. So basically I just take a sharp blade. Actually, I should change this. So this blade is not as sharp as I want it to be. I usually change this out every time I'm gutting books, because it's kind of like the idea that the most dangerous tool in the kitchen is a dull knife. So change that blade out, and I just let's hope I don't screw up the cover. Or cut through the spine. That would be the worst thing. So this was an exceptionally easy book to gut. The book block was not glued into the spine or anything, so that made it super simple. I am intending to pull some pages out of here. There's some really pretty color plates in here. So I'm going to save this book block. Where are they at? There was one back here. So I think just see, there's some really pretty color plates in here. So I'm definitely going to try to harvest those. And I probably will pull some pages out of that if I don't forget. Okay, so prepping the cover. So first thing, I just want to kind of clean this up. I'm going to trim off any of this loose paper along the sides of the cover here. Be careful not to cut through the fabric of the cover. So this isn't sticking out too bad. I basically just don't want a bunch of excess, loose material in here. Let me try these scissors. Okay. Pretty good. All right, so this is relatively thin. There is a paper lining on here, and it's still attached pretty well, so I'm not going to worry about pulling it out. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to add a little bit of glue under here, under those two little spots where the fabric is folded over. just a little bit. Doesn't need a ton. Just make sure those are tacked down. Gotta get the baby wipes out. All right. And then I do want to strengthen this just a little bit. I think I want to add one layer of chipboard in there. So I need to measure. So what I'm going to do is just cut a piece that'll be the same size as this paper that's already in there. Okay. So it'll be 2 inches, which we kind of already knew, but 2 inches by, I'm going to call it 9 3/4. Okay, slightly shorter than the actual cover. 2 by 9 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to cut, or 9 3/4. Sorry. Okay, and then 2. So this is a pretty thin chipboard. It's just from the, you know, from Notepad. All right. That'll fit in there nicely. So sometimes actually what I do like to do is actually glue this under that fabric. So let's go ahead and do that. This glue isn't dry yet, so should work. Okay. I'm going to use a little bit of PVA glue. This is a neutral pH neutral glue. So I'm just going to use my finger, smear it around, make sure there's not too much glue. Like, you don't need a ton of glue. Okay, and then go ahead and tuck this guy under here. Sometimes this doesn't work, like putting the chipboard under that fabric. Sometimes it doesn't really work, but it is going to work in this case. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a tiny bit more, tiny bit more glue under here to glue the fabric down again. So I don't always add chipboard into my spines, but this is going to be sort of a heavy journal, so I want it to have, you know, a little bit more strength. So another reason that I would do that is if the spine had like holes in it, or if I felt like it was really flimsy or fragile, you know. So now I'm just going to take this. It does have a tiny bit of dampness to it from the baby wipe. So actually I'm going to spray it with just a tiny bit of water, because I want that chipboard to sort of soften a little bit, because I want to curve that spine just a little bit. So I'm just putting it on the edge of my desk, which happens to be curved, which is really nice, just to give it a little bit of a curve, and it's pretty much the same as what it had already to begin with. Okay, so now I'm just going to set this aside and let this dry. All right, so we were, what was our measurement again? 10 by 10 by 6 3/4. Yeah, 10 by 6 3/4. Okay, so I think I'm going to do this in 7 signatures because I might even do 9 signatures because that just makes life a lot easier to do more signatures. I mean, even though it's more stitching, they're easier to manage when they're thinner signatures. So I have some books that I pulled out that I'd like to harvest some pages from. This is like a children's like storybook. And so I'm just going to the center of the signature in this book, loosening the stitching, pull out, I don't know, 3 or 4 pages. So you'll see that there are quite a few holes in this where, it's seems like it would be kind of fragile, but in reality it is pretty stable. Like, it's not, the paper is a nice thickness, so I would say I'm not going to worry about trying to reinforce those because honestly, they were holding up just fine in the original book, and so I'm not that worried about it. After they get stitched into the journal, they'll be fine. So this is one of those little big books that I've referenced in the past. There's maybe like 5 or 6 different ones that I've seen, and they're just really cool because they've got all these different like vintage images and cool little songs and things like that. I like this one with Ring Around the Rosie, and then it's got a couple songs. I like this page. Let's see if I can pull it out without ripping it. These are glued into the spine, so see, I've managed to destroy that pretty well. Let's see. Let's go further into the book. Those are so cute. Okay. So this is the center. Oh, that's a good one. So I'm looking for things about gardening or, nature, the outdoors. Those will be good for this journal, because that book, the title of that book is like, what was it? What's it called? The Complete Garden. And it's got this really pretty embossing on the front. I don't know if you could see it, those trees. So let me actually curve this again. It kind of straightened out when I was messing with it. There we go. I have a little kitty that keeps following me everywhere I go. His name is Jimmy. He's so funny. So I like this page because it's got the Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Even though it doesn't have any images, it's still kind of cool. Oh, let's see. That's a pretty picture. Okay, I'm going to try to harvest that image because I like it. So what I'm doing is I'm just finding the center of the signature in the book, and then you can just easily pull the pages right out. Except for not the very first page of the signature, because these are all glued into the spine, which is how I destroyed that one. So okay, let's find one more. one more because it's such a big book. Oh, I like that one. Oh, that's pretty with all those little kids in a bird's nest. Let's see. It's going to be like, I think that's the very first page of the signature. So, of course, it'll be one that's glued in. Yep, I think it is. It's going to be the one that's glued in. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, thank God. Okay, cool. All right, so that's enough pages, even though that's a really cool picture, too. I'll save that for another journal. Okay, so the rest of these, I'm just going to tuck back in here, pop a rubber band around it so they don't come out. Okay, this one needs to get fixed. See if I can. So I have this repair tape that's for book pages. We'll see if I can manage to fix this quickly. It's like paper tape. Okay, actually, I'm gonna do the back. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, push that down. And then I can do a strip across the inside. I like this tape because it's really thin. It's like tissue. So it's good for repairing pages like this where, you know, you don't want to add a lot of bulk. Okay, so that's pretty good. All that because I wanted those pictures. Okay, so there's some book pages. Let's see. I wanted to use some pages out of this old typing book. It's kind of an unusual size. So there's different color pages in here. So there's some pink and green. Some of this beige color. Let's use another green and one more beige. Well, we might as well grab another pink one since we're doing it. So obviously, if I was making, you know, 12 journals, I would probably take all the pages out of this book, you know. But that's not what we're doing. And then I really like this book. This is an old teacher's edition of a math book, an elementary school math book, kind of like Dick and Jane sort of style. Looks like somebody has been trying to cut pages out of here already. Let's see if I can find. Now this one I'm going to have to actually see, this one has pages that are stapled in. The whole entire book block is stapled into, they're all stapled together. These are a pain in the neck. glue all over me. Okay, I'm going to cut this fabric. Sometimes you got to get kind of aggressive, you know. Okay, so there's a cool cover too. All right, so opening up these staples, I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers and I'm gonna pry these open. Wait, where's the... I was on the wrong side. Okay, so I'm gonna lift these up. Thank God there's only 2 staples. Sometimes there's 3. And you gotta be careful when you're doing this with your pliers, because you can very easily ram the plier right into your hand, and I've done that numerous times. So when you're pushing really hard to get the pliers under there, make sure that you're angling it away from yourself. Just saying. Okay. So, should be able to pull pages off now. Now that I've got those staples opened up. There we go. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about trying to take apart this whole book. I just want some pages out of it, but I wanted them to be intact. There we go. See, I got some. Okay. Let's see. Those are pretty sturdy. So it looks to me like this book was put together where the signatures are only 2 pages. Something like that. It's weird. There's one more. Yeah. Rip that one. I really like this one with the little ducks and chickens and stuff though. Oh, look at all those things on the back. Those are so cute. I love those. Okay. Oh, I like to use little bunnies. Well, okay. I love these pages with all those little squares. This one's cool. It's got some gardening stuff in it. All right, well, let's see. Take that page too. Okay. All right, so this, I'm going to tuck these back in here. People ask all the time how I keep my book pages and stuff organized. I am going to take the rest of these pages out and get those staples out of the way, but at the moment, I'm not going to do that. So that's basically how I keep things organized. I just use a lot of rubber bands. Okay, so there's those. And then this one is The Child's World, Plant and Animal Ways. And this book is put together the same way, of course. So let's see if I can Okay. I have to cut through the strings that are going through the entire book block. Be aware that, you know, you can't cut through the staples, obviously.
Karen?
Yeah?
Who's this on the phone that wants to talk to you?
I don't know.
Linda Boyd.
I'm doing a video. Sorry.
It's okay. She's doing a live video. I will.
So it's the same way, just gutting.
Okay.
Gutting. And again, we've got staples to deal with. I really do want to get some pages out of this book. Open those up. I did not realize that these were put together this way before I started doing the video, but now I'm determined. Okay, so sometimes those are just really, really hard to get underneath. So I'm going to try. I have another little pokey tool thing. Don't know what I did with it, so hang on. Let's see. Okay, there's that one. Just gotta hold on to it. Oh my god. Okay, there. All right. See, there's cool pages in here. I'm trying to take this whole signature off now. Okay. Wow, it's only 28 minutes now. Okay. The Parade of Plants. So there's lots of plants. See, aren't these cool pages, you guys? I love this book. Oh, we got some bees and flowers, and it's all going on. Okay, and then kind of shift gears a little bit. I have this book on the Louvre, and it has some really nice images in it that I thought would be kind of pretty to use. Especially the ones, you know, where they're like out in the garden, or, you know, like these. Aren't those cool? I love those pictures. Okay, so let's see how difficult it's going to be to just pull some pages out of here. Okay, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Those are still put together pretty well. I really just wanted this guy. So we'll see. Whoa. I should be careful looking through this book on camera. It's art, guys. It's art. Okay. So I'm not really worrying about whether or not these pages are the right size or anything like that, because whatever size they are, I'm going to make them work in my journal. Yeah, that's the page I wanted. And then let's see if there's any more like pretty garden scenes or anything. Okay, I don't think so. But we got a couple of cool ones. Okay, back in the stack with rubber band. Okay. And then I have this little atlas. And this is actually stapled together. So I'm going to open these staples up. Pull them out from the back. I have a staple remover somewhere, but I never seem to use it. Anyway, so I'm just going to pull out like, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages from this, because I think I'd like to use these as pocket pages. We're going to need a lot of paper for this journal, you guys. So I might be, you know, pulling more than I need to, but that's okay. All right, and then what else did I have? Oh, I've also got, this is a bin full of pages that I've actually used in other journals. Not, well, pages that I've prepared for use in other journals. So I'm gonna just kind of quickly go through here and pull out some stuff like this one. I like that one. Anything that's kind of like gardening or, you know, nature-y. I realize that, you know, the atlas pages really aren't, but I guess that one sort of is. I still have some of these images that were like from that Japanese bird painting book. And I don't really want to use that. That's a cool one. Okay, hold on. These are all from this like book about, it's this like series of books. They're sort of like encyclopedias that are by decade. Okay, so this was the 1900 to 1910 decade, and I was going to use these in a different journal at one point, or a different set of journals at one point, but I opted against them for some reason. I don't know why. So I'm just looking through here, see if anything strikes my fancy. I kind of like that page. I like her. I like these ladies and that lady. All right. So like I said, I mean, I might be pulling out way more paper than I actually need, but that's okay. Whatever I don't use will go in this box. Okay, so there's some, these are some botanical pages from like a flower identification type book. Okay. This was a calendar. We'll put that in there. There's a cute page. Is this exciting, you guys? Isn't this exciting? Okay. Oh, this is a pretty one. Well, it's got kitties in it. Some flowers and trees and kitties. Can't go wrong with that, right? There's another one of these. Yeah, I'm probably pulling way more paper than I need for one journal. Okay, and then I do want to use some of these pages from the Architectural Graphic Standards book. So these are actually good like for pockets and stuff. So I'll pull some of those. Even though they're way smaller than this book that we're working on, that's okay. So here's some like kind of like blank paper that's already, you know, folded and pages that are ready to go. This is vellum. Let's use some vellum in this. Since I don't have a ton of it, might as well use it in this journal. Some of that similar to onion skin paper. This is onion skin. Pull those out. See, I had a lot of paper already kind of cut. This is some straw paper. I don't know if I need that much. Some of those, that blueback paper. I'll pull some grid paper. I have a lot of paper already pulled. Pull those. Okay, and then some ledger. Oh my God, you guys, speaking of ledger, I'm so excited. My box from Louise is coming today. It's on the truck for delivery. Let's pull out some of those. A couple of those. This is some other like oversized ledger. Oh, I have a few pages from what you call them, Edith Holden. I just had a few pages, so this will be a good way to use those up. That's a cool like pocket page. There's another one. Yeah, I have way too much paper now for this one journal. Some handwritten stuff. Some more onion skin. Okay, so that's enough. Maybe I'll do another journal too. Maybe I'll see if I have another book that's kind of the same size. Lots of paper. See, that's way more paper than I need for one journal, right? This is why it's so hard for me to do one journal at a time. Okay. What else do I have over here? Got some envelopes that I pulled. Some smaller envelopes. Some paper bags. I like to use paper bags in journals as pages. because they're really great to do like collaging on, but they're also great to use as pockets and, you know, to store things in that you intend to use in your journal. And then I pulled out some larger envelopes too. So I'm just going to kind of put those on the pile. I had pulled out some other book pages, but I think we have enough book pages. I think so. Okay. I have some other things that I would normally try to use in my journals. So I went into a bookstore a couple months ago, and well, it must have been like the end of January, and into a used bookstore, and they had all these calendars on the counter that were free. So she said I could have as many as I wanted, so I grabbed a few. I'm going to pull a couple pages out of here that I'd like to use. They're all sunflowers. So that one. These are like my favorite sunflowers, those dark red ones. Okay, so just, I think 3 pages of sunflowers is plenty. These are some other pieces that would be good to fold and use as pages in like a smaller journal maybe. But I can always add those in. As, you know, with like paper clips or in pockets or whatever. So they're kind of neat little things. This is a little piece of ledger. This is that same ledger. I scanned it and just printed it out on some onion skin. So I'll probably use that. These are pages of onion skin paper that I had pulled for this project before I realized that I had a bunch that were already folded. So those are going to go in another pile. This is some other ledger. Don't remember where it came from. So these are mostly just like pages that you could write on, you know, different kinds of paper that a person could write on if they wanted to. I do want to use a good variety in here, you know. Okay, these are pages out of some flower books that I coffee dyed, so I do want to use those. I pulled some of these already folded, so I don't need any of those. Oh, this is a cool, like, typing. These are like worksheets. That's cool. I'm looking for things that people could write on, you know, like things like this. People could make notes in that, in those little boxes and stuff, you know. Or they could tear off little pieces of it and use it in collages and things like that. I do like just, you know, lots of numbers and things where there's questions. I especially love that where there's, like in school books, where there's questions that, you know, somebody could actually answer. This is just some cardstock, different colored pieces of cardstock, different sizes. So those will get added in. Some other pieces of like offcuts of cardstock that I'd like to include. These are some things that I printed, like front and back. So I might use some of those. There's some, I'm just kind of going through and pulling out what I'd like to use in the journal. And then And then I'm going to narrow it down. So these are some kind of cool cardstock pieces, actually. They're single-sided, but that's okay. Okay. Some more scrapbook paper that I'd like to use. Oh my gosh, I have so much stuff here. Okay. I'm trying to put this with the other ledger. There we go. So these are some little bits that I'm going to just set aside. These I'm not using. So I'm just going to set these aside, and these will kind of go with the other stuff that I was saying would be good to add as like little clip-in things into the journal, you know. Not necessarily as a page. Some other things that I've printed. Some more pages that are coffee dyed from different books. Oh my gosh, okay, this is getting insane now. These are really cool. I'm going to tear that in half. There we go. Oh, we probably should include some sheet music. A little bit of sheet music never hurt anybody. Look at what he did to me. He's one of those cats that he fools you. Like, he acts like he's being all lovey and stuff, and then all of a sudden he just like grabs your hand and bites you. They like to bite my rings. Jimmy and Journey both. They both like biting my rings for some reason. And I know that, I mean, they're not biting me hard. They're biting me very lovingly, you know. But anyway, just pull out some sheet music. I think this is one of the ones that I got from Joyce, actually. Okay. I don't use a lot of sheet music in my journals, but I do like to have some. These are really cool. These are rub iron-on pages. So I thought these would be kind of fun to include. You know, I think these would actually be better to just kind of clip in to the journal. This would be like cardstock, again, kind of clip in stuff. Oh my God, you guys. So much paper. Okay. I love that paper. Okay, I think I have enough like blank paper. If not, I'll come back and grab some of those. It's a piece of a little notebook about seashells. Okay, so these are just single pieces of ledger that I've had. Maybe some of these pages came. Yeah, these are some of the page 42. So I don't need any of the straw paper because I already have some that was pre-folded, right? This is some other grid paper. I'm just going to pull these out. And some of this. So this is some of that blue back paper that I already have some folded. And then some more onion skin that I already have. These are big pieces of just craft like paper that I use to wrap my journals in when I'm shipping them. Oh jeez, this is crazy. Okay, so these need to get trimmed. These are some other ledger pages. These need to get cut. I'd like to use some of those. So these all need to get cut. All right. So, got quite a pile going here. So let's pull out the, but this is what I do. Like if I'm making a series of journals or, you know, just one, like I'm going to kind of go through the same process. That needs to get cut. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling out anything out of these piles that needs to be trimmed with the paper cutter. Okay, so these need the little tops cut off. Those need to be cut to size. That one does too. I like to keep that with the cardstock. Okay, so these I don't think need to be trimmed. Actually, that I want to trim. And I think those need to get cut down just a little bit. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, so these are kind of like things that I might want to just add in. So those got to go somewhere where I'm not going to forget about them. Okay. Paper cutter. Okay, so the height of our book is, what I say, 10 inches? I've measured this like 4 times now. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. So when I cut pages, I don't want to cut them exactly the same height as the book. I want there to be a little bit of a gap at the top and the bottom, right? So I'm going to say, so the book is actually 10 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my pages 9.5. Okay. Some I will fold to 9.5, but most of them going to cut to 9.5. And then, so when measuring like the width of my page, I usually don't count any of the width that includes the spine. I only measure the cover. Okay. Even though a lot of them will wind up being narrower, because if they get stitched into the center part of the book, they're going to get kicked back just a little bit, you know what I mean? So they won't extend all the way to the edge. But this is just so that I don't wind up with a lot of pages that are too wide. Okay, so I think it's better to have your pages too narrow than too wide. Okay, so 6.5 inches is our width. So if you double that, that's a page folded in half, right? So that's going to be 13 inches. Okay, so most scrapbook paper is no bigger than 12 inches. So we're going to say 12 inches is going to be our width, maybe 12.5. Some of them could be like 12.5, and that way they would extend to 6.25 when they get stitched in. Okay, so we just don't want to go over no more than 13 inches, but I think 12.5 is probably the perfect width for our pages, because they're going to get folded in half and become 6.25. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so these I'm actually going to cut to 9.5. Make sure, oh, look at that, almost exactly right. And then these are less than 12. So see how big these pages are? That book is huge. So I'm not going to have to cut that much. Doesn't look like. This I did want to trim. I know a lot of people ask about this paper cutter, and it's old. I don't know how old it is, but I don't think it's that old. I think it's probably like from the 80s or something. Anyway, okay. So this I wanted to trim off that little scruffy part on the end. This is fine. This one's fine. Okay, this one I'm going to cut to 9.5. Cardstock, scrapbook paper is not going to be more than 12 inches. So I'm just cutting out that little strip at the top. So I'm cutting these to 9.5. I just want to cut, I'm cutting this off because it's kind of thick and it's weird to fold it. Okay, so here's some of that craft paper. And this, I'm not going to worry about the width because I can fold it. And it'll work really nicely that way. So this paper is fine. I don't need to trim it at all. This one I'm going to trim even though yeah. Okay, and then the width is fine. So those can just get folded in half. So this is the craft paper. It's really kind of weird. I bought it on Amazon and it's almost like it's waxed or something. It has it's really smooth. So I don't know. I guess that's cool, but it seems like it's waxed to me. Anyway, so I buy this paper in like a ream. It's like a ream of 480 pages. And it's, what is it, 15 by 20, I think. Yeah, 15 by 20. And they also sell it, also 480 pages, 20 by 30. Which is actually a better deal. But this pack was like $50, so $49.95. And then the just larger ones, the 20 by 30, are $75, but you get twice as much paper. For some reason, I just didn't feel like spending $75 at the time. So anyway, so I'm just going to cut these in half like that. So I folded it in half lengthwise and then just cutting them like that. And then these can actually get folded in. And they'll be a little bit shorter, but that's okay. I don't mind that. So see, I just folded them the long way, you know. Actually, some of these, I'm gonna cut to 9.5. And then there'll be a little bit bigger pages. See, there's 4 that are a little bit bigger. I'm sure this is plenty of paper. I don't need any more. I don't need any more craft paper. Okay. And then this ledger. Let's see, what's the... I'm going to cut. Wait. Hold the phone. Okay, we're an hour in now. All right. Okay, so what's the height on this now? It's like 10 inches. So I'm actually gonna tear this and then fold it in half so that it'll fit in my trimmer. So I'm gonna cut this to 9.5, and then the width is like 6.5. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this to 6 1/4 because remember that was our width. I know I'm wasting a tiny bit of it, but that's okay. It's not that much. Okay. Trim that off on the top. Cut this to 9.5. Cut this to 6 1/4. There we go. And we'll do one more page like that. So I'm going to tear it because it doesn't fit in my trimmer. I do have another trimmer that Carla gave me for Christmas one year that does cut up to 16 inches, which is really cool. And I do use it. I just don't feel like pulling it out at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to cut this to 9.5 actually, and then 6 1/4. Half, 6 1/4. Okay. So I think that's pretty much all I needed to trim with the paper cutter. Now it's a matter of folding and sorting. Okay. So I'm going to actually start folding things and sorting them at the same time. So when I'm folding the papers, what I like to do is I have a couple pieces of masking tape on my desk. Actually, it doesn't even need to be that wide. It can just be little tiny pieces. So I have one there, and then I'm going to space one to our longest width. So 6 1/4 is our longest width, right? So there. So that's 6 1/4 inches wide. And then I don't think anything is like taller than the book, right? So I don't have to really worry about it. Anyway, so then when I'm folding things, if I want to fold pages in, I just use that as my little guide. You know what I'm saying? Works really well. Instead of trying to fold things after you have the book all stitched together. So hold that. Whoops. Messed up. Oh my God, some kind of major action outside. Okay. One more. I can leave that one going that direction. Doesn't matter. Some of them I can fold in a little bit more. Doesn't matter. They don't all have to be the same width. I mean, I could even just fold some in that much, right? Add a little variety and junkiness to it, you know? I just have this as my guide to make sure that I'm not folding things too wide. Okay, now these are my kind of longer ones. Those I definitely... There we go. This one I'm going to go ahead and fold it back in. I'm going to do it this way instead. Okay, it's easier. That. And then there. Okay, I need a sip of coffee. Ooh, and I need to put the lid on my glue. Oh, I did. Okay, one more. Normally, I fold multiple pages at once rather than, you know, folding them one at a time. But for this, that one I'm going to fold in a little bit more. And this one, I'm going to fold back like that. Okay. So there's those. Okay, those are folded. Now we're cooking with gas. What's the length on this one? Yeah, I have way too much paper here, you guys. Way too much paper. But I'm going to go with it. And then, like I said, I think I'm going to try to see if I have another book that I can, that's this size, you know, and just go ahead and maybe make up another journal using these papers, you know. Actually, I do like to use the bone folder, especially on the cardstock. It just, I don't know, just makes it feel better to me. There's another one of those. So sometimes I like to take those and fold them back so that they open, you know, differently in the journal, right? Especially if it's blank on one side, you know, instead of having them all folded this way, you know what I'm saying. If it's double-sided paper, doesn't matter. Either way. I do like to make sure that I have at least one piece of like cardstock or scrapbook paper that I can use as the like outside page of my signature. So this was obviously the like cover page from this paper pack. Old piece of Timmy paper there. Okay. One of those, these pages. This would be a good paper to use as the like guard paper on a signature also, because it's nice kind of thick paper. So that could count for that too. Okay, these calendar pages. I'm going to go ahead and kind of fold them in drastically. There we go. Cardstock, these are already folded. This is the from one of those typing books. I'm just piling everything up in one stack for now. Have any of you guys watched, I might have mentioned this on a previous video, but have any of you guys watched Raised by Wolves? Such a weird show. Anyway, it's on HBO. Check it out if you haven't seen it. If you like science fiction, kind of futuristic, apocalyptic type of things, it's a pretty cool show. Anyway. All right, so these are just random like ledger and grid papers. This one I accidentally there we go. Okay, some cardstock. These I guess I can just fold in half. I was thinking I was going to have to fold them in a little bit more, but they're just like offcuts. Couldn't tell which way was up on that. Okay. Sometimes I get tired of folding one at a time. Okay, two. We'll do two. Then I think, well, it takes just as long folding more than one at a time because you got to separate them and kind of squish them. Okay. One more of these. This is really cool cardstock. 13 Arts. Blue Magnolia A4 postcard collage. It's just got a neat finish to it. More cardstock. I know that I don't need this much for this one journal. Oops. Now I'm trying to rush and I need to slow down. This is going to be a long video, by the way. In case you hadn't noticed. Okay. So then here's some stuff that I've printed that I'd like to use. A little bit of digital stuff, never killed anybody, right? Printed on really, really thick cardstock. Yeah, my printer did not enjoy it at all. Somebody asked me about where I got like grid paper designs, and honestly, a lot of these I got from Tracy Fox, and I don't know if, honestly don't know if she has any of them as part of other kits or what. I never really asked her, so we used to chat about stuff, and sometimes I would send her things and say, hey, could you do this with that? And she would do it and then send it back to me, and I don't know, some of that stuff wound up in some of her kits, so I don't know. Like I sent her some scans of some grid papers that I had, and then, you know, she wound up doing whatever she does with them and then sent them back to me, and I think some of them she did wind up using in her kits, but I couldn't tell you which ones, to be honest. Not sure if we talked about her using those things in her kits, but anyway. It's whatever. Okay. I told you this was going to be a long video, you guys. Yeah, this is way more paper than I need for one journal. This is like probably 4 journals. I just don't know how to cut it down. It's kind of like whenever I cook, I have such a hard time just cooking for me, you know? Like I always wind up cooking enough for at least 5 people, 4 or 5 people. One day I'll get used to it. Okay. Oh, there's a few other things I need to fold that are printed. That thing, that thing, that thing. Okay. Some more book pages, like coffee dyed book pages. A lot of these I did a long time ago, and it had some glue on it. Anyway, a lot of these I did a long time ago, and I forgot about them. I forgot they were in the drawer. You know, you get so used to just seeing something in there, you know, and then you sort of forget that it was meant to be used. Okay, I don't need any more of that. No more. I really want to use some of these. Okay, I'm just going to fold them anyway. This one, gotta make sure it's not too wide, you know. This paper, by the way, in case anybody's wondering, is nice, thick, like penmanship paper, you know. And I think it came from Office Depot. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah, these are pages that people sent me for the page 42 project that never got done. Oh, this is another one. That's funny. This is some kind of like, oh, these are end papers from a book, but it's really nice paper. It's really, really cool paper. It's almost like pastel paper, like a drawing paper, you know. Oh yeah, see that they were pages that were used to separate each chapter in that book. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. I did want to fold these music. So I want to make sure that they're not more than, let's see, yeah. That, like that. And then like that. Making sure it's not, you know, too wide. Let me just do one more. I know it's not more than 9.5 tall. Okay. Okay, what else do I have over here that I need to fold or cut or whatever? Oh my God, you guys, look at all this. Okay, so these pages, there's some pages that needed some attention. So this is a little bit too tall. And instead of folding it up, I'm going to just trim it. I'm going to cut a little off the top and a little off the bottom. And then I can fold them in. Okay, how tall are these? These are 10 inches. So I'm going to actually do the same on these. I'm going to trim them just a little bit off the top and the bottom. And I think I'm going to trim them a little bit narrower too. See, I didn't cut anything relevant off. So yeah, so that works really well for that. Some of that. And then There we go. Perfect. Whoops. I have a couple more of those. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just leave those kind of raggedy on the edges. Those do not bother me at all. I'm going to leave those kind of raggedy on the top. These atlas pages, since I have so many pocket pages already that I didn't realize I was going to have, I don't think I'm going to use these because I have all those other pocket pages already. So I just want to fold this in a little bit. Didn't want to cut off the edge of this paper. Same with this one. Okay, and then these, I'm just going to fold all together in half. And then these pages where they're pretty wide, fold it in like that, like that. Good. Okay, and then these, there aren't any more of these that are double, I don't think. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, I think these are all single. Yeah. Oh, that's a double page. This is how I wind up with a whole box of pages that are already folded, you know, from just pulling way more than I needed to. Okay, so there's those. All right, now I'm going to make a little bit of room. Some stuff away. Take a sip of coffee. Okay, so I'm going to make piles now. Book pages. Book pages, book pages. Okay, and then I'm going to have another pile that are going to be more like heavier weight book pages and pages that I want to make sure get evenly distributed throughout the journal. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, and then these are going to be pocket pages. It's a pile of pocket pages. So like this paper goes in that stack. Okay, so it's more like heavier book pages, I guess. So this stack is more like, you know, just regular book pages, but this pile is more like heavier or glossy paper, botanical book pages, you know. These are actually pocket pages, so those are going to go here. Okay, this is just, there's just one of those. That's a single. This is a pocket page. Another pocket page. Okay, so then I have a stack of, this is plain onion skin, so it's plain paper. And then I have a pile. So this is like handwritten. These are pages that have been written on, but it's not a ledger. I'm going to call that a book page. So that's going to go there. Another pocket page. Those Edith Holden pages. So this is just like grid paper, you know, kind of like grid paper. This is like a heavier book page. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put it in this pile. These are from a stamp album. They're just going to go in there with book pages. And then ledger is kind of like in its own little pile. Grid paper. That onion skin, or that that blue paper and the straw paper are kind of going in their own little pile. The onion skin is going, the onion skin goes in that same pile because it doesn't have anything printed on it. Like, it's just blank. It's just blank paper. So those kind of go in their own little pile. Yeah, way more of these pages than I need. Okay. This is, what is this? Oh, these are book pages. I don't know what this is. Oh, just plain white paper. Okay. So these are the pages from the little book, the little big book. So those are book pages. Isn't this fun, you guys? Okay. One more stack, and then we're going to definitely weed this down. Okay, so those are pocket pages. These are nice, heavy, plain paper. I'm going to put them in this pile, though. No, I'm not. I'm going to put them in the pile with the straw paper. Okay, so that's heavy. All right, so these are, what is this? These are going to go with the ledger. Okay, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. Okay, all these pages that are like flowers, and they're all kind of printed on heavier paper. Okay, and then the digitals that I printed on cardstock, that stuff is all going in this pile. Okay, and then the shorter, like cardstock pages, I'm just going to put in a little mini pile right there. Okay, these go with the ledger. All this grid paper goes in one pile. Onion skin goes over there. These are the typing book. Those goes with book paper. Cardstock, plain cardstock. I don't know if I'm going to use any plain cardstock now. But anyways, those go there. This goes here. Those go there. This goes there. Cardstock. Just go there. Plain paper, ledger. Okay, all the ledger pages, and then these go with the onion skin and stuff. Okay, so now we sort of have everything sorted into like different piles, right? Like sorted out into different types of pages. Okay, so these are all pocket pages. I don't know if I need that many pocket pages in one journal, right? But okay, this is going to go with the ledger. Okay, we're almost done, believe it or not. Okay, so ledger, book pages. This is all the like grid paper and line papers and whatnot. Obviously, this is way too much. And then this is all anything that doesn't have any lines or, you know, it's all just like plain solid paper. Okay. So that stuff all goes in one pile too. All right. And then we've got all the envelopes and paper sacks and stuff. So these I'm going to actually just fold in half because these might get tucked into signatures. And I'll fold some of these in half too. These are kind of the larger ones. Okay. So if we're going to have 7 signatures, I know I have way more envelopes and bags than I need, but I'm just going to kind of set these in one of my piles. Okay. So then I'm going to find my cardstock that I'm going to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort out all of this paper onto piles, and I think I'm going to do 7 signatures. So I'm going to be making 7 piles on my desk. You guys won't be able to see all of them because, well, you just won't be able to. But trust me, there's going to be 7. Okay. So there's 1, 2. I'm sort of trying to think about the way these are going to be in the book. Okay, so I want there to be a certain like continuity, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so there, I'm going to take this one out, add that one, because see, these are going to be in the book. These are going to be like this, right? So those will be right up against each other. So I don't want to use like the same paper, you know. I want there to be some variety and continuity at the same time. 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then my very first page, I think is going to be this. Okay. So this is my cardstock. I'm going to set it aside, and if I need to, I'll add more more with it. Now, what I do like to do, I do like to make my signatures as even as possible, just because, you know, that just makes sense, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just piling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to start dealing these onto the piles. So I only have 3 of the pages from the calendar, right? So I'm going to try to space them out so that they're not like all bunched up together in the journal. if that makes any sense. All right. So if I need to take pages out, that's fine. I just try to do that sort of evenly, right? Okay. 3, 6. 7, 4, 5. So I got one of those pages in each signature. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to use these. And I might as well use the Edith Holden pages. Already got enough of the kind of like Asian sort of pages that I'm trying to like pull back, and because obviously I can't use all of these pages. Okay, so I've got like a stack of stuff that I didn't add to the stacks yet. Okay. So if I was doing, 25 journals, instead of sorting these out to signatures, each stack would be for a book for each journal. Okay, that's kind of one of the differences. So I would be making, 12 piles if I was making 12 journals. And try to use these really cool grid paper pages. Okay, so some of these I'm not using. Okay, let's do some book pages. Actually, wait, let's do these solid, these ones. Well, I guess I don't know if I want to use that many of those in this one journal. But let's put some vellum. So there's two different kind of tones of straw paper. So I'm trying to kind of make sure I use a little bit of each. Okay. Another piece of onion skin. Okay. So I got this pile now of blank pages that sort of like extras at this point. Okay, and then book pages. Two, three, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these. Yeah, I've got way too much paper here. Okay. That's all right. We're going to thin it down. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm not going to use these because these are really thick. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's just hold off on pocket pages for now because I want to add this ledger. Definitely need to add ledger. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like the ones with the numbers in the corner. 6, 7. Okay. Now, let's stack these up. We're going to stack these up and see how thick this is. Because I know I'm going to have to take some paper out of this. Yeah, this is way too much paper. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it with 5 signatures. Let's see. Yeah, that's way too much paper. See how thick that is? Okay, where's our cover? So let's see. Maybe if I could just do 5 signatures, that actually might work out pretty well. Okay, how did I separate these out? Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3. Hold on, hold the phone. Dang it. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. 4, 5. Okay, that's 5 signatures. See how it fits in there. Huh. That's actually pretty good. It's a little bit thick. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just go ahead and do 5 signatures. And then we'll take out a few pages as we go so that it doesn't wind up being that thick, you know? Okay, so what I need to do then, I'm going to split this out by, wait, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's our signatures. Now, we need to organize the signature, okay? So I've got, actually, those are kind of thick. I don't think I need that either. So as I go through each one of the signatures, I'm going to just set aside a couple pages that I think I don't want to use, you know. Okay. So I like to use some kind of pocket or something in the center of a signature. Just because I kind of like the way it works for the user. Actually, I really like to use these kinds of pages where it's just like folded in. I think those work really nicely for the center of a signature. So I'm going to use that. Where's my envelopes and stuff? So I do also want to make sure I use one of those. So I'm just laying these out the way I want them in my signature now. So I'm kind of placing one high and one low. And that way, when I squish them together, they'll all fit perfectly. I'm going to put my paper bag in, put that little guy in, this guy in. These signatures have a lot of pages. Yeah, these signatures have a lot of pages. I should have split these out. Oh well, they'll be okay. I mean, it'll just be a little bit harder to bind. So I'm taking that out. Just want that green one. The vellum and that. Okay. So then I just kind of scooch them together like that. All right. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot. These guys need to get folded in a little bit. That one. And that one. Okay, so there's one signature. And I want to put an envelope and one of these paper bags in this signature. So these are papers that I've pulled out. I'm not going to use. Okay, so those are going to go in. Okay, okay, so I'm going to use that envelope in the center of this signature. And then I'm going to use this piece of ledger paper right behind it. Oh, I didn't realize this wasn't a double page there. Okay. That. So I'm just trying to alternate like different types of paper just to give a nice variety as you flip through the signature, or, you know, as you're looking for a page to write on or to collage on or to just play with. I'm going to fold this in now since don't put too much thought into, you know, where pages wind up. I just try to make sure that there's a variety, you know. and that it's not too redundant. You know, I try not to put like a bunch of heavy papers together all in a row. You know, I try to make sure that there's some lightweight pages in between heavier pages and stuff like that. You know, put my little bag in. Where I have pages that are folded, I try to make sure that they're situated in a way that they're not going to get caught on other pages. So like, yeah, like that's fine. And I don't like to put two pages right next to each other that are folded. I just think that creates, I don't know, conflict. I don't know. Okay. Take that grid out. Okay. And then that. See, and then just scooch them together. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit, see, it's, the signatures are winding up being slightly wider than what I measured the cover to be, see, but that's okay because they're going to wind up getting stitched into the signature and we'll still have plenty of space. So it'll be good. You'll see. All right. I do want to use, actually, I want to use craft paper envelope in the center of this signature. And then let's just use like that big page from the you know, gardening book. It's not the same gardening book as we're making the journal out of, but similar. Scooch that down. Put this paper bag in. And then children's book. Piece of ledger. Typing paper. Typing page. Typing book page. Take that out. That in. That in. Let's do Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary. Ledger. I'm not liking that really dark grid paper for some reason. Okay, no, that is too thick. That paper is too thick. So this, sunflowers, I'm not going to use that. And then this, okay? Okay, so this piece of scrapbook paper was a little bit shorter than the other ones, so that's why, you know, things didn't scrunch all the way up, but it's good. Okay. So let's use this, and then this envelope in the center of the signature. Piece of ledger. That, Actually, that I want to make sure goes down a little bit. Wait, I don't want to put that in because those pages are kind of like the same size. There. Now that one. Let's put this paper bag in. Actually, this is kind of heavy, so I'm going to put it somewhere else. There. Pull that down. Okay. Making sure that everything is like pushed in and even. See, this piece of cardstock wasn't, you know, large enough, but it still works in the same way. Yeah, see, I've pulled out this many pages, so it should be okay. I mean, as far as the thickness. Let's see, I want to use another. I really like these big envelopes, so I'm going to use one of those in the center again. And then let's use that piece of like a typing paper there. Use that. See, I'm just trying to kind of alternate the way I put things in, you know, like so that each signature isn't exactly the same. So that each one's not laid out the same, you know. Yeah, see, so this has a folded page, and that page, this has a folded page too, so I don't really want to put those together in the book. Okay, I'll add one of those. One of those. Pocket page. I do try to use some kind of paper that's somewhat sturdy next to a pocket page, just because I feel like those pages get a little bit more wear and tear, and you know, I want them to hold up. So there is a little bit of thought to it, you know. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use that and that and that and that. Okay. Now let's see how fat this winds up being. Okay, here's our 5 signatures. This page is really sticking out a lot. What's the deal? So, okay, I know why. Because I used it in the center of the signature, like in the middle of the signature, and those pages have a tendency to stick out more. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch its position in the signature, and then it won't stick out as much. Okay, so everything seems to be pretty even, right? Nothing is sticking out really bad now. Okay, now let's see how it all fits. So that's pretty good. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, that's a nice, chunky, you know, journal that, I mean, I know, like, somebody's going to start adding things to it and it's going to get huge, but that's not my problem. If they want to take pages out, they can. You know, there's no law that says that you can't take pages out of your journal once you bought it, you know. And it's actually pretty easy to do that. Okay, so, wow, we got our signatures done. Now, I want to cover this. So, see, this is dried. It's been about an hour and a half, right? And this is dried, so it's got some form to it, and it's curved. It's, you know, it's got a nice curve to it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to add a piece of fabric on the inside here to just line that, you know, and I like to use like a duck cloth or some kind of, you know, fabric that's pretty sturdy. You know, doesn't necessarily have to be thick or thin. It just has to be somewhat sturdy. This happens to be kind of in the middle, kind of in between. It's like a linen, sort of. So I'm not measuring it. I'm just holding it on there and seeing how it fits. So let's see. Looks pretty good. I do like it to be slightly higher. Just a little bit. And if I wind up having to actually cut it, I like to use the pinking shears. Because that's like too short, too little for me to tear it. So, okay, just like that. Perfect. Okay, now I'm just going to use this. Some people are going to think this is crazy, but this Creativity Street glue stick is super good. Like, this glue is really good, especially for fabric. It's almost, I swear, it's almost exactly like the Scotch Create glue stick in its gluing power and its texture and everything. It's really, really similar, and that glue is really good. So for glue, don't knock it because it's glue in a glue stick. You know what I mean? Just because it's in a glue stick doesn't mean that it's, you know, not good glue. And I'm saying that because I kind of had that attitude for a long time. Like, you know, that glue in a glue stick is just like for kids in kindergarten or something, you know? But it actually is really good glue. Okay. And they are different, you know, different types of glue sticks are different formulations for sure. Like, they make repositionable glue in a glue stick, which blows my mind. Okay, so that's gonna just get stuck on there. And so one of the reasons that I'm okay with using a glue stick, glue, for this is because I'm going to stitch this on the sewing machine. And so I'm really not going to be concerned with it lifting off, you know, because it's going to be sewn down with the sewing machine. So, okay, so it's got a little bit where it, you know, kind of lifts up over here, but that doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's cool. Okay. So that's that. I do like to make sure that it kind of, the fabric gets pressed into those creases, you know. All right, so let's stitch it. Let's sew it. Sorry guys, I was just reading this note from my mom. One of her friends needs help with a with an app on her phone or something. All right. So this is my Brother CS6000i sewing machine. I've had it for a few years. I think I've had it for like 3 years, something like that. Time flies, you know. And it's always been good to me. I did take it to the shop one time because I was trying to do something, and I was trying to take this plate off on the bottom, and I think I had some thread stuck in there or something. And anyways, I was trying to take it apart, and I wound up dropping this little teeny tiny little screw down inside the machine, and I couldn't get it out. And so I just got super frustrated. I took all the part. I mean, I had taken half of the machine apart trying to get that screw out. And then I was just like, okay, that's it. And I wound up taking it to a shop for them to put back together for me. So that was the only reason I went to the shop. User error. Anyway, okay, so I want to make sure that I stitch down, that I stitch this down along these edges here, okay? So that's actually what I'm going to do first. Hopefully this will work. Oh gosh, and it's going to be too narrow. So the machine is too narrow, like it won't fit in there. So that's okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world. There really isn't any way for me to make it work. But that's okay. I can actually do that on one of my other machines that has a wider bed on it. One of those old vintage machines. Okay, so cross your fingers that this works. I've set my tension to 4.5, something like that, 4.5. And then my stitch length, that's just a straight stitch, is at a 4 on here. And I've got my speed set kind of medium speed. She's working. It's so this older bookboard tends to be a lot softer. So it's like easier for the machine to stitch through it. Now, some people won't do this on their sewing machines because they think it's bad for the motor and that kind of thing, which it might be, you know, I don't know. But I do what I want to do with my machine. I bought it, so it's mine. I can do what I want with it, right? So I'm just doing a straight stitch. You want to make sure when you get to the center that you're not stitching that fabric backwards. And I stitch right across the spine. See, it's not going super fast. I think that's part of it. Is, you know, you don't want to rush it, but you do want it going fast enough that the gear has enough momentum to push the needle through, you know. Sometimes you have to give it a little bit of a push just to, you know, keep it going through. The feed dogs sometimes don't like to grab onto paper and pull the work through. The feed dogs are those little teeth under the foot. Anyway, sometimes they don't grab onto the slick paper and pull the cover through, so you have to like push it yourself. Anyway, so that's fine. Like this is okay. I'm gonna actually glue that down just a little bit, and I'm just gonna use that same. Oops. Just gonna use that same glue stick actually. And then, yeah, this side's actually pretty good. I'm not going to worry about stitching the rest of it on the sewing machine. I'm just not going to worry about it, because honestly, I think it's fine, because it's going to get stitched through when I stitch the signatures in anyway. So it'll be fine, I promise. Okay. There we go. And then I am going to go ahead and trim this off just because that's just what I do. I just like it. I just like it trimmed. A lot of people would leave it long like that, or they would fold it back over on itself before they glue it down or whatever. But I just like it like that. Couldn't be any simpler, right, you guys? Okay, so time to stitch the signatures in. Okay, let me grab my box. Okay, so in this box, I've got all my thread, my like wax thread, a pair of flat nose pliers. This is my foam that I use for, you know, poking and all. My needles, I got to get a kind of a snub nose needle out of here. Got to find one. Kind of a, excuse me, like a rounded needle. There we go. There's one. A pencil and like a Sharpie. Okay. And then I have some scissors here. So what color of thread are we going to use? I think I do have this green. The cover is green. Might as well just use, if I have enough of this, we'll use that. Okay. It's kind of like a turquoise. It goes nicely. Okay. So I'm going to pull off enough for probably 3 signatures. Might have to rethread the needle, which is fine. So obviously this is uber simple journal, right? Like the naked journals that I've got for sale right now. This is basically the same type of thing. If you wanted to do anything to your signatures, you know, if you wanted to do any other stitching, if you wanted to add pockets that needed to be stitched on the sewing machine, or any other kind of embellishment that it's going to be difficult to do that once the book is bound, then do that like before you bind your book, you know. especially like if you want to add tabs to your pages and you want to put some stitching on them or add little bits of lace or fabric or anything like that. Definitely want to try to do that stuff before you stitch your book together. I would, you know, otherwise you're going to have a problem. So anyway, so we're just going to do this with 3 holes, 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm not going to try to do 5-hole, even though since the signatures are a little bit larger, it might be better to do 5-hole, but I'm just going to go with 3. So that's because that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so I'm just going to mark the center. Okay, eyeballing it. And then I don't have to go all the way to the end there. I can go, oh, I would say 3 inches down from the center. And then say 3 inches up. And I'm just making a little dot on the spine of each signature, okay? And then I'm just going to do a real light little pencil line to go pretty straight across the spine. Okay, now I'm going to take this whole block and I'm going to turn it upside down so that the last signature is facing up, or is the one on top. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Sharpie. We could do it with a pencil too. You know, probably better to do it with a pencil at first. And then what I like to do is I like to make sure that I know exactly where the edge of my signature, of my cover is. Okay, so just kind of feeling with my finger, make sure that I know where the edge is, and then I can come through and I can start marking the center. Look at it. Does it look pretty even? This one's over just a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to mark, because this is where we're going to poke holes, so I don't want to poke a hole right on those ends, so I want those to be in just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to make a mark right in the middle of that one and that one. So right in the middle of that one and that one. Okay, so this one in about 1/8 of an inch, about 1/8 of an inch, and then in the center and in the center, about 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, center, center. Okay, we can make a little dot with the Sharpie just to be sure. Dot, 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 dot. Looks pretty good, I'd say. Okay. So then we want to poke our holes. Oops, make sure you're on the foam. This cover is pretty big. Okay, poke, 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 poke. Okay, there we go. Holes are poked. Okay. Okay, so take my first signature, which is actually the last signature. Open it up, flip it open onto the foam. Whoops. Hold on. I need to thread my needle. Anyway, so I'm going to poke the top, poke the bottom, poke the center, and leave the awl in place. Okay, needle's threaded now. Okay, then I'm flipping it up. I'm flipping it back over with the awl still in there, and then I'm just holding everything tight pull the awl out at that point, and then everything should be lined up really nicely. And then in through the center hole, grab my pliers, pull that through, and I want maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches in through that hole, through the top. Flip it back around. And then I'm going to use my awl. I'm going to kind of realign those holes. Using the awl makes it a lot easier to get my needle in through there again. And then through the cover, use my pliers to pull it through. And then back through the center. And this is why it's easier to do thinner signatures with less pages, especially if you're doing a 3-hole stitch or a 5-hole stitch. Okay, so then I'm going to cut this about 5-6 inches, and I want to make sure, so I have actually split the thread there, so I'm just pulling one side out that had actually gotten stitched up through the middle of the string, you know. So I'm just giving that a little tug to snug up the binding a little bit, and I'm just tying that in a knot. That's it. First signature. Okay. And we'll just carry on. So this one has an envelope in the center, so I want to make sure the envelope is open, and turn that over. Just make sure that everything stays as it's supposed to be, you know, top, bottom, and then the center. This one I don't need as much of a string on the inside because it's going to be covered up by the envelope. So I love doing this. This is like one of my favorite things to do. If I had 500 books to bind, I would just be in heaven. Okay. And this is one reason that I love the wax thread too for binding, because it's so easy. You know, you don't have to worry about holding it while you're tying the knot and stuff. It actually holds itself pretty well. Okay, let's make sure I have enough thread here for one more signature, which I do. Top, bottom, middle. Flip. Straighten it out. So I kind of like use the awl and I kind of like make sure that it's straight. You know, you'll know what I'm talking about if if you do it. But like I can see through that hole, you know, I can see daylight through that hole, and that tells me that it's straight. Your papers kind of get, if you kind of get off a little bit and your needle doesn't go through the way you want it to, try just using the awl to poke through again. Through the same hole. You're not making a new hole. You're just kind of lining the papers up again. Or you can clip them together like a lot of people do. They clip their signatures together so that, you know, they don't get skewed, you know. I just don't do that because all those clips start irritating me and they get in the way. Anyway, but that is the reason that I started making smaller signatures, like signatures that didn't have as many pages, because they're just easier to deal with, you know. Okay, so again, I have split the thread, but it's not a big deal. Like, you know, I just use my awl and I just find it and pull it out where it's gotten split, where it splits through, you know, and then you just pull it out pretty easily. So the pages, the signatures where I have an envelope in the center, I cut the string short, you know. The ones where there's no envelope in the center, I leave the strings longer. So, okay, need a little bit more string. Enough for 2 signatures. So 1, 2. It's like 2 arm lengths or something like that. Okay, this one's got an envelope in the center. I'm actually going to move the envelope up just a little bit. That way I can hang on to it with my thumb there. Okay, top, bottom, center. Straighten everything out. To the center hole. Pull it through with my pliers. Trying to feel. Got a lot of pages in this signature, so things can get, you know, moved around, shifted just a little bit. A lot easier than with, you know, a 10-page signature. This one's got like 20, I think. Okay, so there's my holes again. So you don't want to pull it super tight when you go in through that 3rd hole at the bottom. You don't want to pull it super tight, otherwise you're going to have a really hard time seeing when you have to get back through that center hole. So you want to make sure that you have a little bit of space there so you can see what's going on in there, you know. Wait until you've got everything done that you need to do with your needle before you really cinch it up. And I so if you know what I'm talking about, where I actually I pushed the needle through my thread when it came through that center hole. So I'm just finding where it went through. I'm pulling it out with using the awl to kind of help me do that, you know. Sometimes it's a good idea to make sure that your binding is actually snug. Like there's been times where I've had like a loop or something here and I had to like redo that signature. And that's a real pain in the neck if it's in the middle of the, if it's in the middle signature and you've already bound all of the signatures, you know. It's really hard to redo the one that's in the middle. So, okay, one more signature. Yeah, I gotta try to find a book that I can use the rest of this paper in. I have a couple over there that I'm thinking might work. Okay, that one. Part of the reason that I use a rounded, like a round tip needle, is so that it just makes it easier for the needle to kind of pop through these pages rather than like poking new holes in the paper. I hope that makes perfect sense. Like a sharp needle has a tendency to want to create a new hole, whereas the rounded tip needle will just kind of follow the path of least resistance. If there's a hole already there, it has a tendency to just slip into that hole, you know. See, right now I'm having a problem getting my needle to go through all those pages. There's so many of them. So you just kind of have to open it up and look in there and see where it's at and slowly start closing, you know, closing the gap there. See, I can see the needle. Just have to push it through each page individually. And that's why it's important to not cinch this up real tight until you actually have your needle through that, that center hole all the way. And I've split the thread again, so that's fine. No big deal. Just pull it out. Happens all the time. Okay. Okay. So there we go. That hole was slightly off to the side, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's handmade, right? So then, you know, you could just do whatever you want to do with this. Like you could add book corners, you could add a closure. You know, I might do like a hitch post, or I might just tie something around it, add some charms or whatever. But look at, look at all that yummy paper in there. And now it's all contained and ready to play with, you know. So anyway, so I told you guys I would do constructing a junk journal start to finish, and I have done that. So there we go. All right. I love you guys. Okay. Bye for now. I gotta go pee. Okay. Bye.